that's
You're good, bro.
it's
You're good, bro.
fascinating what it's fascinating what tech is doing for you guys specifically versus, for us here in America. I don't know if I could speak for all of America specifically, but for Dallas, I think the integration of AI is creating jobs where we at first thought it was going to take jobs away. Kind of like what you're saying, Abdi, is creating these opportunities. Maybe it's just making that job more efficient. And so the employee has an opportunity to do other things as well, or spend less time in one area versus another. And so in a way, I kind of think what it does is you think that it's helping you sometimes, and it does, but at the same time, it like makes it so, because you can do so many things more efficiently, then employers create this additional or multiple additional hats for you to wear within the workforce specifically. So you end up doing more work because you're able to do or a wider span of the type of work that you were doing before, because you can do each area a little bit more efficiently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like it also can be a bad thing too, because you got AI now, so then you got all these machines rooting out employees and actual humans doing the actual job now. So I feel like it's
Yeah, it's a two-edged sword for sure. I think I'm gonna let it catch up real quick. I think
we're good.
Considering
we're good.
I'm in safety, I like the idea that it takes certain types of jobs and concepts of what we do with our hands and our bodies, and gives the employee an opportunity to stay safer. It does implement things like that, which is always a great thing to have, less injuries, less time outside of work, less downtime, less cost from a company's perspective as well as an employee's perspective. And so that's really fascinating, kind of what the differences are there. But I'm interested to see how Eastern Africa continues to pioneer with their technology.
I think the most advancements that you guys are gonna see in East Africa most probably are gonna be around the spectrum of agriculture and natural resources. I think there's a lot of improvements that are gonna come through AI on that area, because that's what we're really, really, really big on. So yeah, I think that's the direction most probably that's gonna take charge in terms of what you can see directly when you look into Africa. So yeah.
What about from like an educational perspective? Like what's happening educationally within like the schools there? That I kind of want to see what the connection is between Eastern Africa and the United States right now, because I know there's a lot of people right now within the school system that are pretty frustrated with some of the. And I don't want to dive too politically into that goes a little too deep for us. And so, but at the same time, like there are a lot of people that are frustrated with some of the context of what's being proposed to our children. So like, I'm kind of curious what's happening there in Eastern Africa, if that's similar.
So for us, education is crazy. They changed the system of education maybe like 7-8 years ago. So what we went through was pretty organic, like no politics, no nothing. We actually went to school, did the work, did some national exams, like everybody has to go through it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the tech in education system, especially the primary and the high school, and they're like not connected in any way. I don't know if the new system is gonna bring in computers and stuff. I got to learn. Okay, I come from the city, so I actually got exposed to the computers and stuff pretty early. But if you go to the rural areas, these are people who take almost 16 years of their education to go to the city, join universities and stuff, and so that they can actually get to see the computers. But they introduced a new system. I believe the new system is more welcoming, is more advanced, is more. The one we went through it was very rigid, like rigid, like we were doing things that were completely irrelevant to us, like it's not going to help us in any way, but you're getting forced to do them. So it doesn't help you. It's just wasting time.
Yeah.
But I get the idea. The idea was a lot of people in the past, though, that's the education system, that it worked for them. So the government sat down, did a review, and say, you know what, we need to find something that can integrate these kids to the society very fast, and in terms of development and stuff. So if your kid is looking to go into medicine, they're actually getting prepped from lower school all the way to the time they are going to med school. But for us, it was different. So I'm thinking right now, because of that, if they're looking for tech and other things, if they're looking to do art and music, it is integrated right now in the education system, which is better. But the problem with that is it's very expensive for the parents.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say, man.
Yeah, you see, like for us, I basically did like a free education system, like literally
Free.
Like, yeah, I think I basically like went through the whole education system for free until I went to the university, because there wasn't a lot of demands. The only thing we needed was books, and I guess the rest of the things were being provided. But for this new system, the government has introduced it. So if your kid is in a government school, it's a little bit easier for you than if your kid is in a private school, because the books, the government is going to produce, they provide the books and the necessary equipments that they need. But if your kid is in a private school, bro, I'm telling you, they're going to squeeze you out. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Also to add on that, okay, so basically the system we went through, me and Abdi, it was basically a theoretic system. I can say it was a theoretic system. We were doing biology, and we were learning biology theoretically. We never used to like do until we got into high school, where we started having laboratories, and we used to have to do physical stuff. But now the other challenge that we have in Kenya is an infrastructure challenge. Even the current system, it's called CBC. It's curriculum based something. It's just something to do with that. Yeah. My child is going through the system, and bro, I'm telling you, it's expensive because, okay, but I like it because when we were in school, we were going for a primary 8-year course, and then at the end of the 8-year course, you have to do a national exam. So the whole 8 years is dependent on one exam. So if you panic, you get sick, or if your mom dies before the exam, you're cooked, bro. You're done.
Yeah,
you understand?
They say you failed.
Yeah, you failed.
It was so bad because this thing could actually determine your future.
Yes.
Like going through the 8-year course, and you fail, means you're going to a really bad school.
To a very bad, to a lower cadre secondary school.
So it's a really bad system. And even in high school, like people are missing opportunities. And then if you cheat, for instance, let's say you went through the system and then you cheat, and then you end up getting an A for your high school, and then getting accepted to a med school. Do you think that guy is going to be a proper doctor? This guy cheated in high school.
Yeah.
The system was really, really poor and wrong.
Yeah, and because of that challenge of like going through an 8-year course, and then you have to do one exam, and then you have to go for a 4-year course in high school, and then you have to go through one exam. So people had the pressure to have like to cheat in those exams so that they can get into better opportunities moving forward, and that led to a lot of quack doctors and a lot of teachers that were fake. They were not
even the politicians.
Yeah, even the politicians that we have currently in our country, bro. Come on, man. These papers were cooked, But now the current system is curriculum based. So you from the 1st grade to the 8th grade or to the 7th grade, when you get there, everything you've been doing is going to be put into the system, and then they're gonna get a mean grade for what you've been doing all through. So I think it's better.
Yeah, another thing, I think one of the best things about the new system is, you see, I don't know about you guys. Here, Africa, the relationship between a kid and the parent is really like authoritative. Like, there's no relationship. The love there, the love sharing thing is very odd and
tough love.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to put it.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you guys can say I love you to your kids, but if you say I love you to your kids, you look like a weak person. But that's the previous generation.
That's the previous generation. Yes.
Yeah. So you see, the thing is, the
Interesting.
education system was also like that. Like a parent getting involved in your education, it was only when you're failing, and that's when they get involved. But this new system, they engage. They've created a curriculum where kids at a younger age, they'll go to your parents and say, "Hey, the teacher said you're supposed to help me with this assignment." So the parent has to literally find time to do the assignment with the kid and then sign. Otherwise, this kid, the kid is not, when he goes to school, they'll not be the grading system is going to be unfair to them. Another thing, the psychological part of it is, if a kid, like my kid, I help him, and then Bilal, the kid, is like, my dad was not there or my mom was not there, it's going to affect this kid psychologically. So as a parent, you need to put some effort to show that the kid also has support. So the new system is really good.
And the new system was also put in place to encourage 2-parent households.
Yeah.
It's also like that, yeah.
So basically, they improved it massively.
Yeah. Potato.
We had a little bit of that, you know. Things were definitely different from my dad and his dad versus, you know, my dad and myself, and then also even still again between mine and my now 8-month-old, you know, baby, my son. And so I think we had a little bit of the same kind of transition period of, you know, I don't think my grandpa or my papa told my dad he loved him until my dad was like 30.
So that's
30
like
or
a universal
35.
thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a black people thing, no?
Well, no, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say what I've been told since I came out the womb, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even right now,
Oh, wow.
I can call my mom right now, and before any end of a conversation, baby, I love you. It's gonna be every single conversation. I can talk to her that morning. She's gonna say it. I can talk to her again that evening. Later on that night, she's gonna say it again. And that just same way it is with me and my kids. They're not gonna leave the house or go anywhere. Daddy loves you. That's just, you know what I'm saying? That you know that I'm here. That Daddy loves you. That's just coming here in America. But like, hey, there is some people that don't.
You see, the thing is, for us now, the new generation,
This generation,
is we are really intertwined with the kids. We have a good relationship with them.
We're hands-on.
The relationship between us and the kids and our parents with us when we were kids is very different. Our parents were more focused on providing. For my dad, it was always, you guys, I'm the provider, I do this, the authority of the house. If we did some mistake, mom will always say, like, wait for your dad to come and then
you're
you
getting
it proper, you know?
That's global
So-
for sure.
That definitely gets put on the father, man. We get to be played around with, but also, man, hey, you gotta go take care of that baby.
I could
I know.
I could hear his car tire screeching outside the house when he was coming back to discipline us for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
So even for the moms, it was really hard for them to give you an assurance of love, but they would show it on action. They wouldn't say it, but they show it on action. They were very tender about it. So it took a smart person, a smart child, to realize the love language between him
And
or
the
her
mother.
and their parents.
Yeah.
But if a lot of people are traumatized, our generation
Yes.
are very traumatized.
Yes.
The upbringing they got.
We have
Just
trauma.
they never understood the love language was like that during their time. But it's really awesome, and I love the way the new education system has changed and integrated a lot of parents and the kids together.
Yeah.
I think one of the scary things that are happening, and it kind of ties back into like the technological advancements of what we're seeing globally, is, you know, devices, cell phones, iPads. You know, a lot of times in a lot of ways, you know, there's a disconnect there between parents and their children, not just from an educational perspective of them going to school, but also once they get home, you know, the parent is probably having to work, especially here in America, significantly harder, both the man and the female, to provide. Where, you know, we talked about masculinity when we first started this podcast, and that's being affected by everything, the inflation, the the cost of living. You know, a man in America no longer can really take care of his household unless he's going out to look for 5, 6, 7, 8 sources of income. And even still, in order to get there and have that motivation or that encouragement and that support, the wife has to go out and probably work full time at this point. So that being said, when you look at the education system, starting from the home and the disconnect between the parents and the children, or the kids are going into one room and watching their devices, the parents are going into one room and sipping on some wine. If you like some wine, that's fine, and doing their own thing. And so they're not really coming together to communicate the same way we used to. Like my dad was probably, you're going to eat at the dinner table, and you can't leave, you know, to go do anything else until we finish. And then at the dinner table, you probably heard about, you know, they probably talked to you about what you did at school, you know, if you misbehaved during the day. All that kind of stuff didn't happen anymore. The kids, they grab their food, they go to their room, they have their full setups of everything. TVs, computers.
I'm guilty of that. That's my son TV, all that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, it's based off, you know what I'm saying, the reality we live in now, you know what I'm saying? And then that goes back to the AI thing with, you know, our technology just getting so big, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't sit there all day on the couch playing with technology. We didn't have that stuff like that. We didn't have the cell phones. Like, we had cell phones, but didn't have half the stuff that these guys have now on the cell phone. Cell phone is a radio, a computer, everything all in one. We didn't have that. So coming home, letting your kids do that, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's natural now. You know what I'm saying? For your kid, that's his entertainment. It's something on the screen. You know what I mean? But getting away from that family time of all us getting together, eating dinner together and all that, that is a difference between, I can definitely say, in America, that culture thing or that family, it's only big on some families. It's not a big thing for everybody, you know?
Or a time of year.
It's also the same here.
There you go. Yeah, like time of year. So if it's a Christmas, Thanksgiving or something like that, that's majority of times where you see people in America come together as families and want to actually do something, unless they came from a family background, you know what I mean, like that. I have a big family. I don't know all my family, so I didn't come from that type of background, but that's me learning how to interact with my kids, you know what I'm saying, like that now.
Yeah, but it's also the same here. People who are from the city, they basically do the same thing. The kids with their gadgets, the parents with their gadgets, everybody's like that. But in the rural areas and in the smaller towns, and also another thing I think I'd say, Pia, the thing is also the ethnicity or the tribe or the group that you're coming from also plays a part.
Right.
Like for us, really? Our community, yeah. For our community, when we having dinner, we actually having it on the same plate, and we eat from our hands.
Right.
Three fingers, bro. 3 fingers.
Yeah. It's like we're actually having it with our hands. So you guys, when you guys come here,
we're gonna show you.
You will be amazed at the difference in culture. I mean, it's beautiful here. It brings people together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's how it works here. I don't think I've ever sitting on a chair or by myself and eat. Like I basically right now, like this big guy, I don't enjoy eating food alone.
Yeah.
I would rather like, yo, Bilal, where are you at?
Have you had lunch? Oh. Let's go have some lunch.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like, yeah. So, but right now it's like that, like the way Chris is saying, like our kids, they don't know that. They know what they know is they take their own plate and they go to their rooms and eat. It's different for us. And that's one of the things I would love my kids and my family to continue doing it.
And those and that's the kind of culture that we have ourselves, that we're taking from our parents, and that's the kind of culture that we want to take through to the next generation. You see, like in my household, my kids have what do you call the thingy, the tablets that they play with, and trust me, bro, they cannot have those during mealtime. We have to sit together. So I sit with my sons, and then my daughter is like, the boys with the man and the girl with I have one daughter and 2 sons. So my boys sit with me, and then we eat, and then my daughter sits with their mom. And now why I encourage that concept is because I really love my daughter, because I'm a you know men and their daughters, yeah. But why I encourage that concept is because I need my sons to take the male attributes that I have in the household, and I need my daughter to take the feminine aspect of her mother. You understand? Because femininity these days, bro, it's something that is really hard to find in women. So I really want my child to go through that path. So these are part of the things we do in the culture. You might take it passively if you're not keen. If you don't have a keen eye, you might take it passively. But we actually do it intentionally so that our kids can learn the right things. You know, we can learn a lot of things, but we need them to learn the right things. So that's part of the culture. So that's why we even started the culture podcast.
Yeah, because if you pacify at home and then they go to school and they learn whatever they're learning at school, and you're pacifying there as well, because it's what it turns into. Let's just be honest. And I'm not speaking for everybody, I really don't want to disrespect certain families. You know, I did things differently. I was homeschooled as, you know, a kid, and so I got looked at a certain way too. Like I didn't, you know, it was just
I'm gonna say lucky.
I was. To be honest, I was fortunate. But you know, I also did it.
Yeah.
I would have rather, if I could go back and do it again, but I had to be in school during this era, I for sure would want to be homeschooled.
Definitely want.
During my time in the 90s, 91 and up, and going to school and being homeschooled, I probably could have went through public school, and it would have been a good experience, you know. But I wouldn't want to be in public school right now, because, you know, parents have to go to work, and both parents have to go to work in order to provide, especially here in America, and so we use it as a, I hate to put it that way, but almost a pacifier of time, right? What do we all lack globally that we don't have enough of? Time. It's equal, right? Yeah. So we a lot of families are having to send their kids to school, and they may not get as connected in what's being taught there from a curriculum standpoint, because they're so inundated with, okay, my job and quotas and tasks and that sort of thing. And so by the time they get home and their kids disconnect again, because that's where it's starting, and they go to their rooms, that whatever knowledge and whatever education they're building at the school specifically continues to flourish that direction with no intervenence. I'm probably not even saying that right, but intervening from the parents, because that is the organism now. So we're starting to see kids grow up far too fast. Yeah. They're learning things that they, in my opinion, they don't need to learn that quickly. But we won't. That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole and the stuff that they have right now.
Yeah. You know something. Okay, go.
No, go ahead. I'm curious.
Okay. You know something, Chris, I'm going to say this about you. You have like 30 television sets in your home. Please get rid of some. That's scary. but what I wanted to ask you guys is, what is the financial dynamic between you and your spouses or your girlfriends or your women? What is the financial dynamics in your setup? Because ours is a bit different, but I want you guys to go first, because I think it's very important to talk about financial dynamics within families and within married couples. So how is it for you guys? Will?
In terms of how finances are shared between the two, how they're communicated?
The financial dynamic, I mean, how the finances that come into the household, the incomes that come into the household, how they used, or what is your role? What's
Perfect.
Your wife's role? Yeah, you understand that.
Perfect. Yeah. So of course, you know, and different for every couple, right? But I think men commonly still, even today, are leading in terms of being the breadwinner for how much they make. Yeah. So naturally, and especially that's how it started, was that the female spouse's income was always an accessory. Maybe that was used for groceries, maybe that was used for fun times or whatever else. And now that you've seen the shift where it's like, okay, not only do we need the man to work full time and get promotions and advancements, but do we need the woman to work full time and get advancements and promotions. And let me call Chris and see if we can go and buy some property together and live together in order for it for us to really flourish. I think they were saying the average couple in America right now needs to be making anywhere from $160,000 to $200,000 together in order to live comfortably. Meaning you're probably able to get out of debt in some areas,
financial freedom.
And you're able to go on certain vacations, etc. So that's pretty high up there. That's ridiculous. Either the man's got to make 150 and then she's got to make 50, or they both have to make 80,000 a year. So yeah, and so what you see is a generational progression and transition of, you have women seeking men who can make more naturally, because so they only have to make less, and because of that they end up getting it. We see these types of relationships that probably don't end too well, because men are having to be vulnerable in ways that we've never had to before, by going, hey, can you work? It sucks when, I don't know if you feel this way, but
it does. It's like that. I know exactly what you.
If you get in front of your friends and your friends are like, "Oh, I would never ask my wife." Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah.
I've never asked my wife to pay for help me pay for rent. I'm like, well, dude, I guess your relationship isn't one that adapts, because it sucks to have to say that from a masculine perspective. Hey, do you mind helping to cover some of these things? But at the same time, it's nurtured that relationship between my wife and I, where we understand, okay, let's just buckle in and zero in for this X amount of time. And then we can hopefully get to a point where we can go back to the way things were kind of before. But I think I don't know, we're still at a divide. We're still at a pinnacle point in the statistics of households bringing in finances between a man and a woman, where we don't really know which direction that's going to go, and it's leading to people with walls and barriers within their relationships, that that she makes what she makes and she has her own account. He makes what he makes and he has his own account, and they don't even come together anymore, because they either both have or each have their own debt, and they don't want to put that on the other person, or there's just fear that because either one can't really survive without the other working, then I'm not going to give you access to my money, where you could be making terrible decisions with the money. So there's a separation that I think is happening. Even though we're coming together, there's also a separation where there's this fear that, like, I've got to keep my money and my hard-earned money to myself. So if that answers your question.
Chris?
Oh, it's the exact same, but everybody's problem, like you said, is everyone's different. You know what I mean? When we talked the other day, when I was explaining that's she has a role and I have a role, but again, being a man is kind of difficult to, what I mean, as a man over here in America, bro. We want to have those same, like the man takes care of everything and does it. We want to have that, but like you said, in America, it's almost kind of difficult to be able to do so. If you're not a millionaire, bro, over here, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like you're trying to kill yourself to stay afloat and to make sure that you can provide these things for your household. And then it's this big thing on us looking like, okay, you're not a man if you can't take care of your family, or you're not a man if you can't do this and do that. So we're like labeled over here as well. You know what I'm saying? So it puts a lot of pressure on a lot of men that's out there that actually is trying, and no, it may not be good enough, but then actually what is good enough? You know what I mean? So it's the same
system.
Yeah, it's a system, bro, over here.
For us,
it's a system, over here where it's about the same.
You can pause. So guys, I'm gonna pause real quick. He's gonna go with his son real fast.
Oh, okay. Crazy, man. I'm giving you 6 years. You'll be taking your kids to the washroom also.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy, man.
I know it. I really don't. I'm a man of faith, right? And so I don't like to live in fear. I know that things can happen. Obviously, I know that probably better than most, considering my background in my career, which is, like I said, safety and litigation. I deal a lot with insurance, with litigation in terms of like the law and that sort of thing. And so, obviously I deal a lot in proactivity, right? In terms of trying to mitigate hazards and that sort of thing. And so it's one of those things where, that bad things happen out there, but it sucks. But at the same time, like, the more you introduce fear into your life of like, oh my gosh, what if that happens to me? You seem to bring that on yourself a little bit more, in my perspective.
Usually happens.
At least as a man of faith, like I don't like to live my life.
That's true.
manifesting problems to yourself.
Yeah.
Man, how are your families? How is your wife? How's your kids?
I should go
I
first.
have 0 kids, bro.
I should go first on that.
Yeah,
because,
Bilal. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I should go first because I feel like I asked that question about financial dynamics in your household because I've been married 8 years, 2016 to date, and I have 3 kids. I have probably he's about to turn 8 now. I have an 8-year-old boy. I have a son who's I have a daughter who's around 6, and I have a little boy who's 3, and the dynamic is pretty crazy. If we're even starting this podcast because eventually we wanna earn from it as well. That's part of the reason why we're doing this. The financial dynamic, it's crazy because it's crazy because here in Africa, and Ibra and Abdi will tell you the same thing. We're Muslims, bro. So being Muslims, there is some sort of pride by being able to provide for your woman, and I think that's universal. Every man is proud to be able to provide for their family. But trust me, bro, my wife does not work, and I hope she doesn't work because there are so many external factors that come into marriages that I'm able to mitigate and control because she's not working. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to come off as controlling. I'm just saying that she is more at peace when she doesn't have to go through struggles because I'm selfish like that. I want her to be my peace. So I have to do the heavy lifting for her so that I'm able to, she's able to be my peace, and I'm scared of kids going through different hands, babysitters and this and that. So I want my kids to be raised by her because I married her because of her values. So I want her values installed or instilled in my kids. You understand? So it's a crazy dynamic here, but I love it because it's a choice that I made, and I made her understand this. I told her this, and she said, we started a family. There's a level of sacrifice that somebody has to make. You understand? And she decided to take that sacrifice. And you see, the other thing about us is we live our lives and learn a lot about contentment. Yeah. What do I mean by contentment? Being contented by what you have and not being distracted by what Abdi has or what
could
other
be.
people have. Yeah, you understand? And contentment is a very big concept for us, especially in this cultural African setup. We need to teach, or we've been taught in our lifetime, to be content with what we have, because now that contentment is what is being driven, and I think is what is one of the biggest problems we have in the US currently. I don't know, but you can correct me. People want more. People wake up and want more. People want more. Women want more. Men want more. Everybody wants more. And you'll keep chasing something that you cannot conclusively have. After you get what you want, you'll want something else. So contentment, I think, is part of the problem that you guys are facing. I don't know if you...
Not just them, everyone.
Yeah, not everyone, yeah. But I think for us in our culture, we've been taught to be content. I don't know if it makes sense to you. I don't know.
No, it does. And that's part of it is, you said it perfect, is by her not having to go to work, you establish the natural convergence between a man and his wife, because as soon as a wife goes to work, which is okay, there's a lot of incredible,
it's perfectly fine,
women business leaders, but at the same time, like within the household, it's no longer you coming home with the struggles and the patterns of work and the way that affects you from an emotional standpoint, and being able to decompress with your significant other. She has those same feelings too. So then you just have this butting of heads, because you both understand that you just went to work, and the employer probably doesn't care about you, your number, and so you're searching for nurturing, she's searching for nurturing. It's just not, the dynamic is, like you said, it's just off and skewed. So it is a difficult time, and it forces couples to interact differently and adapt. And so we've been forced. It's not been a choice. We've been forced because of economically what's happening within certain demographics and cultures to have to adapt to some of those things. And it's been tough.
Yeah. The thing is also the reality here is also is we are also accepting the fact that women can come in and help financially. Like a lot of people are buying into that idea. Before it was hard to think about that. Before it was, you are the man, you should provide. Like the idea was actually even a woman, like telling a woman, like, you know what, you have to chip in now. The economy is bad, the financial status is bad. Telling that to her before, it would have been, they would actually have a sit down with the
with the community,
with the family, and the community. Like, this guy cannot provide, man.
With the community.
Yeah.
But
really?
But right now,
Like,
yeah,
legit?
I know, it's crazy, bro. I'm telling you, the community, the Asria, the sitting down thing is big here in Africa,
it's
bro.
big. Yeah, it's big.
The cacao thing I was telling you about is they do that a lot. And I think we have like a cacao court where some cases are they don't need to be taken to the court. The government actually recognizes the authority, like the old people, we call them the wazee.
Elders.
The elders. They'll just like listen to the case and solve it, and then come up with a
report.
way of, and then the government will accept it. So that was before, right? But right now it's becoming a common knowledge. Like even the ladies right now, they know, like, if I'm gonna get myself married, I need to play a certain role, because other than that, like the life has changed. The inflation is crazy. The economy, we need to catch up with life. So I can't do that by myself. As much as I need a shoulder to lean on after I'm coming from work. The economy doesn't allow.
It's crazy, yeah.
That's the reality right now. As much as Bilal is very compassionate about his decision and everything.
Yeah.
But
It varies from
the
person
thing
to
is,
person, yeah.
you have to do so much to have what Bilal is talking about. To have your wife taking care of your kids, you have to do so much right now. That's the reality. I don't think it's just here. It's the reality everywhere right now.
And to add on that, okay, I don't know how this will sound to you guys, but I'm gonna say it regardless. Yeah, I have 3 children. I've had children for the last 7 years, and I've never ever changed a diaper.
Wow.
You're crazy, man.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and I knew that would sound crazy to you guys, because I know the dynamics is different where you guys are, but I've never had to change a diaper. Not because I can do it, but she wouldn't let me. Okay, and why wouldn't she let me? It's because she really wants me to be able to be the man. And I know that might sound off to the American audience. I'm sorry. Yes, to the modern world. Yeah, she's giving me she's giving me latitude to be the man, and she's never ever let me change the diaper, leave alone. I don't know. Okay, sometimes I have to do it. Take my kids I do the father stuff to the kids. Yes, but you see, okay. I'm also giving gender roles again. Man. I don't know. I don't want to sound off. I don't want to sound off for you guys, but I'm just saying that these women we have here, and that's the part of the culture that I'm trying to talk about, is they've been taught contentment, and some people translate that as the poverty mentality, and they've been taught misogyny, or they've been told to settle, But these women are perfectly happy, man. I don't know how to explain that, but that's just how it is.
I'm pretty sure that's gonna be like a huge, massive episode for
Yeah, we're gonna do this episode, bro.
It's just I was gonna say it's just because it's just based off of basically how everyone was raised over here in America. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to ruff any feathers, but if they wasn't taught that, then that's not going to be their idea on wanting to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing with men, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're the same way. Like, you have some men that actually want to do the man's job, provide, do all that. Then you got some men out there could care less, don't care, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's based off of how we were all raised at the end of the day. And over here in America, I feel like we lack more of the culture than you guys do. You know what I'm saying? Everything
Yeah,
goes back to the roots
yeah.
and goes back to culture. Here, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest with you, bro. It's 1,000 cultures. So who do you follow?
Well, that's what I was saying. Via our message was, if we want to go and introduce ourselves to a culture, we a lot of times we're just not even given that opportunity because it's, or like I said, I don't know where that harm comes from or where those barriers come from. If that's typically just like entering into America, you just already put those walls up because of, of course, social media has done that to us.
Yeah.
Social media only
Like,
paints a picture
Yeah.
in a lot of different ways, and so you're able to form a perspective before you've even intervened with that person. So that's why I love this platform that we've got, this opportunity to jump on a podcast and to really ask the important questions. You were talking about, the whole gender situation. Like I've got opinions on that. Am I going to sit down and talk about it? No, because at the end of the day, just like for the Days End podcast, I'm not really too worried with offending people.
Yeah.
But like my opinion matters, but
Yeah,
solely,
it does. Yeah.
specifically, it matters to me.
Yeah, we'll talk capital on that one. On mine, you're gonna
Yeah.
make it fly. There is no rule. You say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Whatever audience don't like it, hey, get off of it. That's all I can tell you. But hey,
Yeah, I like to tell our guests on a standard basis that we're here to emphasize what you might have going on. Specifically, TDEP is about like entrepreneurism and business-minded or like-minded individuals that are trying to overcome some of the challenges of life, not just financially, but also from an interpersonal perspective. Some of those, there's a lot of kind of like the corruption that's happening over there. There's a lot of gatekeeping of information here. So I can jump on Google and I can search for something that I want to learn about, and I'm going to get 15 different YouTube videos, right, telling me how to do it, but only telling me how to do it a certain way that specifically brings that channel views, or and there's some truth to it, but nobody's ever going to really truly give you what they know, because then that would make them irrelevant and you relevant, right? And so or their position would be at jeopardy. And so I that's what I value about my current director and my company that I work for, is he's like, hey, let me give you everything I know, not like enough for like me to be, and that's why I think it's so important to learn from the elderly. And so when we talk about generations and education and tech and the way that the world is shaping itself out now, we can't forget about the people who pioneered before us. And that's me personally, I think that's just so important.
definitely.
Yep.
Is that huge for you guys?
Yeah. it
Learning
is.
from the elderly there?
Big time. Like it's massive. Like, in fact, a lot of things we have to run it by them. These guys, we actually have a saying of wahenga. Like, it's big. I promise you, there are a lot of things. I don't even know how to translate it yet.
So it basically means, when he says wahenga, it's like the ancestors used to say. It's an African thing we have, like how old people used to communicate stuff. And it says, whoever does not listen,
they share wisdom.
Whoever who does not listen to what the elderly say will probably break their leg trying to run into what they want to do. Does that make sense?
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like an old school saying.
That's it.
Yeah. That's what we say here. Back in the day.
Back in the day. But here the thing is,
That's interesting.
With the following the elder, the advice from people. These guys, like, I used to work with a guy. He's one of the best guys I ever worked with. Like, this guy was telling you, listen, if you need to do this, you gotta follow this path. If you need to be successful in this business, you gotta do this. If somebody is talking like this to you, you have to like respond like this. So this guy actually made me to be a professional in the field I was working at. So I became a professional because I looking at him, how he's handling the situation, like how he's handling the pressure. There are all these things. They come up, and without people like them, it's very hard for us to adapt. And again, like when we are young, we are hot-headed, so we usually do things the way we think is right. But sometimes the way we think is right is actually wrong. So we need direction.
Yeah.
So where do we get the direction? We get the direction from them. So it's very important for us to have them as part of our community and society. I don't think we can disregard them.
Yeah.
So what actual like tribes, like, because I know I've read in Africa, y'all have like over 40, 50, probably 1,000 different tribes. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
Just in Kenya, it's like 47.
Like, yeah, so like, so
47?
if y'all have all those tribes, and so what elderlies, like, I mean, everybody has their own group. So what elders are y'all like? Do you like?
Okay,
actually
let
take
me
advice
let
from?
me explain that. Let me get into that. Yeah. So can you hear me?
I'm afraid it's because I'm just continue.
Yeah,
There's a delay.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
a delay, but I'll continue. Yeah. So Abdi here is a Somali. He's from the Somali tribe. Myself, I'm Swahili. I'm from the Swahili tribe. So basically, where Abdi comes from and where I come from is north of the country, and I come from the bottom side of the country. So we
We are
are.
the nomads.
These guys are nomad. Like
This guy is a farmer.
and I'm a farmer and I'm a fisherman. Like that's what our people used to do. Yeah. So in Abdi's ethnicity, and they have something that I really admire, and I think some of us in the coast we're trying to adopt it, is they have a system where they have elders or the old Somali men, the fathers, the people who have most children in the community. That's one. Two, the older generation, probably the 60-year-olds in our current situation. The older people are around 60 to 70, yeah? Okay, 60 to 70-year-olds. So what they do is, Abdi here can probably lend me like $30,000. That's around 3 million Kenya shillings. And what they would have to do, Abdi wouldn't use the bank. So Abdi would give me the money in cash in the presence of the old man. Okay? And you know what I have to do? I have to swear by God's name. And I have to say, Wallahi billahi, like literally that's like saying, in God's name, I'm going to give you back this money at this specific time. Okay? And then Abdi gives me the money. Okay? Based on me swearing by God's name and the presence of the old man.
Yeah, the witnesses.
The witnesses, yeah? So if I don't pay the money back, or if I steal, or if I run away with the money, yeah? What happens to me? So Abdi doesn't take me to court or doesn't get me arrested, or he doesn't do all those government bullshit. No.
Just take him back to the
He takes me back to the old man. And when I'm back at the old man sitting, they sit me down and then say, you swore by God's name that you're going to pay these guys. So what happened? You tell your story. And then if it doesn't make sense, what these old men do, if for instance you have a business, probably you sell vegetable oil in your shop, it is spread amongst the community that you should not buy stuff from these guys' shop or this guy's business, or you should not visit this guy's business until this guy pays back what he owes Abdi, because it's actually a shame in their setup to not pay back debts. Okay, so they badmouth you, they give people a bad picture about you, and people are told not to get into your store until you pay back what you owe. And that system really works, bro, because those guys are about to take you out of business for like 6 months, bro.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
I wish we had something similar in the United States that hold a lot of people accountable for that. Because here in the United States, bro, you'd be surprised, bro. You can give someone some money. There's no strings attached to it. If you gave it to them, they can do whatever they want to do with it. You know what I mean? So you give it to them.
Yeah.
Hey, if it's not in a contract or the government's not involved in it, bro, in the United States, bro, people can get away with anything. So, but if we were to take that amongst ourselves, to deal with it ourselves and leave the police and the government out of it, now the government gets into it if we harm that person or do anything to that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. That's a good way. I really do.
Yeah, like I gave, when Chris and I, because we worked for the same company. And so I think early on in the stage of our communication, especially when it came to the podcast, I had acquired some pretty expensive portable microphones, right? Roughly in like the $400 range. And I gave Chris or loaned Chris like a pair of them. By all accounts, Chris could have just up and left town if he really wanted to, and I would have never gotten that stuff back. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's a level of trust that I can attest back to our relationship and on both a business and friend level. And so you don't see that often though in the United States. I wouldn't hand that off.
No.
The camera that I'm using right now to record is about $1,000. There's very few people that I would allow to borrow this equipment because they wouldn't treat it as their own. It'd be hard to get it back from them. That there's just too easy for them to ghost you because we no longer go to each other's houses or send letters. You know, we use cell phones, and you can just turn that off or change your number or whatever it might be. But I'm curious, because we're kind of nearing a stage here for time. I'd like to end with this specifically when it comes to like a tourist perspective. How welcome, especially post-COVID, people were kind of timid to travel,
Right.
Especially outside of the United States, because you could get stuck in certain areas. What does it look like from a tourist perspective there for Eastern Africa, and how welcoming is it right now for American populace?
Well, I can tell you one thing is we are very welcoming, like very, very like tourism is a big and is a big sector of our economy. We have so many things. You have so many beautiful things. In fact, fun fact, we are actually the only country in the world, not Africa, in the world that has a national park in the city, like just roaming around in the city, like, you know what, we own this place.
Right.
So, but the thing is, we are very big. We are very welcoming. I think America is one of the biggest people that come to us.
Biggest clientele.
Yeah,
There.
the weather is really awesome.
fantastic, yeah.
So many places you can visit, so many things you can see. In fact, I'm actually just telling you in other words, just come to Africa. I mean, come to Kenya and you'll be amazed.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to
I'm
hear.
definitely going to try to make
it's beautiful.
that live journey this year.
Yeah.
So I can see you guys. You know what I'm saying? Now when I get there,
You guys are
I told
welcome,
I'm
man.
gonna record it, bro.
We
We're
just
gonna
missed,
go live.
we just
when
missed
we go
like a
over there.
beautiful sunset. Yeah, we missed like a beautiful sunset. Like this
Right.
place doesn't have a lot of buildings. So around like during the sunset, it's beautiful. Like the sky is red, man. You don't see that in a lot of places.
I was telling.
Well, y'all close to the equator.
Yeah, we're close to the equator. I was telling Chris the other day that in this country, I'm sorry if this is gonna sound wrong, but I'm gonna say it regardless. Yeah, I was telling Chris if he's gonna come to Kenya, he needs to bring his black friends. Okay, and he asked me why, and I was saying, you know, in Africa. You remember, yeah. So, and I was saying, you know, in Africa, yeah, especially in Kenya here, as he was telling you before, sometimes we get the white people get overcharged because they are visibly not Kenyan, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys blend in.
Yeah, you guys blend in easily. You just have to keep your mouth shut. The accent will sound out.
We're good.
I'm not going to do it here on the podcast because I'll make myself sound foolish, but I could do the accent. Don't play with me.
Hey, teach me
Please
a couple
do it.
words,
I wanna
bro.
hear
We'll
it,
fit
man.
in.
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
that'll be
basically,
another
you guys
time.
We got it right now.
Just-
It's easy. Go Lion King with it. Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata, yes. Yeah, Hakuna Matata.
See, you said
One thing you need to learn is when you come here, just say jumbo, like just jumbo,
Jumbo.
like everywhere.
Jumbo, yep.
Jumbo. Yeah.
You guys are good.
Jumbo.
And you see, the Hakuna Matata you're saying, it's an American style of saying it. You say Hakuna Matata.
Right. Just like how he explained, just like how he said it on the movie. Hakuna Matata. That's how you say it.
Yeah, you saw
That's-
that, and that's how we just do it. And if you come here, bro, I was just about to tell you guys, I need you to understand that the power of community, especially in Africa or in our setup right now, is well engulfed within food. And
Oh,
why?
the food, yeah.
Yes, and why am I talking about
Food
the
is
food?
big here.
If you come here, yeah, you're not gonna use spoons. You're not gonna use knives.
Yeah, hands. You remember hands?
Bro, you're not gonna use all that.
Yeah.
We're gonna wash your hands.
Yeah.
We're gonna sanitize it. If you want us to sanitize it for you guys, and we're gonna sit down on the floor, okay, and eat together. And I just want you to
Yes.
experience that and feel how that is, and see what that does to your heart. And then think about it, and think about doing it with your family now. It's really
I
big.
probably would. Yeah, I'll probably
Beautiful.
go over there and
Yeah.
get to
Sometime.
eating like that and come over here. Hey, kids, put that stuff up. We're eating like this now.
That's
One thing we're gonna tell you is, you guys come here, you're gonna experience a different world.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
different. Yeah, it's
So
different.
it's a different world from where you come from. But the thing is, it's gonna be an amazing experience, and it's easy to access. The only thing I don't even think we need visas anymore in Kenya. You just need your passport and some some online stuff you need to fill out, and then you're all good.
You're good. Your passport is kind of strong. The American passport is kind of
I'll
strong.
be there soon.
Question. Name real fast. 3 of the best places to start in terms of somebody's thinking about
Mombasa,
from America
Masai Mara.
Okay.
Mombasa, Masai Mara, and Nairobi. Yeah. 3
Okay.
of the best places.
That's his. Mine. Watamu. Okay, go. Say.
Are you being biased because that's where you're at, or is that like legit some of the best places to start?
Let me just justify. Let me just justify it, right?
Yeah.
So Mombasa has one of the most beautiful beaches, right? It's like all white. The water is beautiful. The weather is amazing.
Okay. Sold.
That's Mombasa for you, right? The Masai Mara, bro. You gonna sleep in hotels in the middle of the park, like lions and all these things. You just like wake up in the morning and you see them, and I don't think there's anything beautiful than that, right?
Yeah.
And Nairobi is if you love like energetic life, nightlife, beautiful restaurants, coffee, and again we have a national park in the city. Like you can just go there anytime, check some animals, you can party, some nice hotels.
Melanin strip clubs.
The place is amazing. Yeah.
Bill. Dang, man.
Man.
Wait. You know something, yeah? This is something people don't talk about, but the strip clubs, yeah. Normal people don't go to strip clubs, okay? It's a big boy game. Because of the standards of living here, and if you guys came here, we're definitely taking you to a strip club. And bro, let me tell you something about the strip clubs. Yeah, those women are proper black.
No, man. Listen, there's no way I can keep this inside of this podcast because my wife.
I'm sorry.
I support you, man. I support you. Will. I don't think that is part of the. That's gonna be cut.
You have to edit that part.
Oh my goodness! Shout out to Kenya, man.
I'm trying to give you absolutely murked over here.
Shout out to Kenya.
But you get the idea.
Yeah, but you get the concept, though. Yeah.
The place is beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you guys specifically for sharing that too, because I think there was a lot of confusion around that. Like I said, post-COVID, on where some of the best places foreign to go were. You know, that's something that TDEP wants to do. We want to kind of connect the dots between and that communication, that conversation between a lot of different places. Yeah. I'd love to go to the UK and to talk to some people from the UK and or even further beyond that. So, man, thank y'all for your time. Thank you for your expertise in regards to what's happening from like a cultural standpoint out there in
Same
Eastern
goes for
Africa.
you guys.
I think.
Yeah.
Finishing notes that you guys think you want to share with the community here with the Days End podcast?
Sure. Yeah. More or less the same thing. I love the experience. So we've seen the world in different perspective. We've seen the world in African perspective and the US perspective. A lot of people don't get to do that. So this is an amazing exchange. Again, all my expectations have been met. The exchange has been good. The exchange has been intellectual, so basically, like we've benefited from it, and beginning of some really good friendship. So yeah, that's my take on the whole podcast.
Oh yeah, man, and TDEP podcast, man. Shout out to you, Will. Shout out to you, Chris, man. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you guys for inviting us, and
yes, sir.
One of the thing that Asria Podcast is going to be offering is being organic. We have to be as organic as possible. And that's how I say what I say, man. But I'm sorry if I'm getting really in trouble, bro. But, you know, it is what it is, man.
Asria Podcast. Yeah, we need you guys to let people that about our podcast. And, we want to have more experiences like this.
Yeah.
Let everybody know where you guys can be listened to, where you guys can be watched, you guys can be on YouTube more readily available.
Social media.
Social media. That's one. But I'm very big on Spotify. The podcast is gonna be very majorly on Spotify because Spotify will supply the podcast through the other platforms. We also just been discussing with Bilal about the YouTube part.
Yeah.
But we're eventually going to do YouTube on a large scale. But right now we were talking like we do some episodes on audio format, and then maybe like 1 or 2 a month on the video. But if you want to get access to a podcast, I think Spotify will be the best place.
Also, before you
spell
go,
it for
guys,
everybody?
Asria. So I'm gonna put it this way. This is what I learned from American companies. So they don't. If you spell it because of the accent, our accent is heavier than theirs. So we have to do it in in an alphabetical setup. Like so, if I say Asria, that's A for the apple, or A for the yeah. So A for apple, S for the snake, R is for Richard
for Rockefeller.
or Rock. Asrias, all right. I for indigo, and then we go back to, and then we go A for Abdi, for Anderson, Andy. Okay,
Yeah.
you get the picture, right? So it's AS RI and A. It's Asria. Basically, in Arabic
Excellent.
format, it's literally after the 4 p.m. prayer, like just about the sunset.
Yeah. So you guys, thank you for having us, man. We appreciate your time. Yeah. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you, Chris. And let's do this again, man.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a lot to give, man. But we have a lot to give. I wanted to ask something. Sorry, I've just remembered. Thank you for being like, you've made me remember something. How big is Patreon on your side? Because we wanted to start Patreon as well. So how? Tell me about Patreon. What do you guys know about Patreon?
I don't know enough. I'll tell you that.
Me
You know, there's some. The one thing I quickly learned in season 1 of the Days End podcast was there was too many opportunities to just really overwhelm yourself with the amount of things that you have to consider when building a podcast or really anything virtually. And so Patreon is like eventually at some point down the line for us, I'm sure. Obviously we're heading the same direction. Hopefully that the podcast can generate for itself and stop coming out of my pocket. But yeah, unfortunately I don't have the knowledge, but that's something that maybe we could do some research and we would love to jump back on here and culturally share some differences again, and also some relatabilities. And so maybe we can each do our research on Patreon and have a discussion based off of that.
Yeah.
Sure. I think we're done.
Awesome.
Right. I actually
Guys.
forgot what I wanted to say.
Yeah, man.
It happens.
I was gonna say you can save it,
Yeah.
man. This ain't the only time we'll meet each other, bro. I can't wait to see you guys again, and we'll definitely talk more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On different topics and stuff.
Yeah.
Always, man. You guys
Appreciate
have
you
been
guys.
amazing. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your time, bro.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Kenyan.